Hello, beautiful soul family. Welcome back to day 3. I am so honored to be here with you yet again, and more importantly, grateful that you're here. I am honored to be your soul sister and to be in this with you. And I am so grateful that you exist. I am so grateful that you are here, and that sometimes we can feel like we're alone on this journey as a heart-centered being who's trying to make the world a better place, or trying to spread love and healing. Sometimes it can feel like we're on this journey alone. And the fact that I took the daring, audacious step of building a YouTube channel, stepping into this work, means that I get to see the evidence that I'm not alone. And you are the reward. You are the beautiful beacon of light off in the distance that says, hey, there's another brother, there's another sister. And I want you to know that you are not alone in this, and you are amazing. And I'm so happy you're here. I'm so grateful you're here. And I especially want to thank you for your commitment to healing, your commitment to not letting the world make you hard and bitter, and continuing to show up, trying to solve this crazy challenge that the world is facing right now through your own healing, through your own expansion. And so just thank you. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for continuing to hold on to hope. Thank you for remaining committed to healing. And just thank you for being in this space. Your energy, your love, your presence makes this possible for everyone else who gets to see this too. So you are my hero in a way. We are our own heroes. Speaking of which, that is what we talked about on day 1. If you've not seen day 1 and you've not taken advantage of the freebie, make sure that you are in the Facebook group and commenting your I am my own hero video. I will send you a link to the inner child regression so that you can regain all of those lost, fractured parts of you and become whole again, which is the first step and leads to day 2, where we talked about how does manifestation work? How does unhealed trauma prevent us? Because it is a conversation of energy, and unhealed trauma holds our energy, or requires energy to hold. And we cannot manifest the life of our dreams without having all of our energy going towards that thing that we are trying to create. And so if you have not yet watched day 1, make sure you search day 1, either on the YouTube channel or on the Facebook group, and watch that video, post your video to get the freebie there. And then the day 2 training, you can just search day 2 and you can watch that and do the activity for that day to get access to the future self progression. So we do a regression for wholeness and a progression to meet our millionaire self, meaning our fully self-actualized self, right? The highest version, the highest self, the most expansive timeline with all of the abundance where you are thriving and therefore pouring into others and creating a beautiful, fulfilling life. That all of that will be available through the weekend. So make sure that you check that out. And if you do the activity and for some reason don't hear from me, sometimes things get lost. So make sure that you comment, let me know that you did them, and I'd be happy to send that to you. And then don't forget about today's freebie, usually the most popular and exciting one, the Theta Healing for Healing Abundance blocks. Say that one again. Theta Healing for Healing Abundance blocks. And that is really learning to command your authority, going up into the higher realms and accessing your ability to call it in, to say it is done now. And so that Theta Healing will walk you through how to do that. So super, super exciting stuff. I will tell you at the end of this video what that activity is to be able to access that. So make sure you watch this all the way through, and I will send you that. Now, if you do all 3 days worth of activities, you are entered into a drawing to win free sessions with me. So make sure that you contact me and let me know that you have done these things so that you receive your initial freebie and you put your you put your name into the hat for the drawing. And I will be doing that drawing tomorrow afternoon. So that is, I guess, all of the housekeeping, if you will. How has it been for you? How are you? How are you feeling? How's everybody doing now that we're approaching the full moon coming up soon? Energies are fun and crazy, but we are standing still in the eye of the storm, fully confident in our ability to handle whatever comes. And that is the beauty of being solid within ourselves, being whole and complete, commanding our authority, and creating through the capacity, the creative capacity that the divine has given. And because we are one with the divine, because the divine lives in our body is the beautiful, beautiful vessel that allows us to not only receive guidance, but also to create a beautiful new world. And that is the beautiful part about being committed to this path and becoming a purpose-driven entrepreneur, is you get to watch the world become a beautiful place right before your very eyes. And you get to go from striving to thriving. You get to go from tolerating life and just getting through to loving the life that you get to live, excited to wake up every day. That is the beautiful gift the divine wants for you. We are no use to the divine if we are sad, depressed, scared, struggling, just scraping by financially. That is not what the divine wants for us. So let's remember, we are the favored creation, and all infinite potential is available to you in any moment, because we're literally one with the divine. The breath of life is coursing through you, and the source creating creative energy that created this universe is what animates your autonomic nervous system every single day. If you are still here, you have purpose, you have intention. The divine loves you and wants you to thrive. So let's not forget that. Okay. I've loved being with you the last couple of days. Sometimes it's a little bittersweet to wrap up these events. I am so honored and grateful to have spent so much time with you and get to see your beautiful faces, especially in the Facebook community. And of course, as always, I love you so much. So thank you for sharing your energy with the community, with the family. Just remember, you are deeply loved, not just by the divine, but me as well, right? And you, of course, are not alone. We are all in this together. And even though there is a lot of death and rebirth happening out in the world today, it doesn't have to be painful. This process actually becomes a lot of fun when you learn how to close stress responses and work with your nervous system and receive. It can be so enjoyable. And yes, while all across the world things are crumbling, we are able to stand confidently in faith and peace and trust in provision, sort of like being at the eye of the storm. While chaos swirls around us, we're good. It's okay. It's safe in here, right? You're never alone. And while we can't escape what's happening outside of us, we can find a safe place within it. Just remember, it starts with you being your own hero and going down this journey, going down the path of healing and learning to close those stress responses and move these blocks and traumas from our body, because the body keeps the score. It can't be done cognitively. So many times a client will tell me, I'll ask, what do you want to work on today? Or what, what memory in your childhood holds a big emotional response? I'll say, I worked on that already. Yeah. And I did too for 20 years or more. Oh gosh, I'm going to age myself. Yeah. About 20 years. I had been working on that before I discovered somatic healing and how the body keeps the score. And so all these things that I had healed cognitively were still living partially in my body. And so it's tough. I was a hyper independent person. I wanted to believe I could do it all on my own. Nobody was there for me when I was young, especially moving out on my own at 16 years old. I very much was on my own. And I had that belief for the rest of my life that the 16-year-old had developed, that nobody else was going to be there for me. And so it can be really challenging for us to reach out and ask for help. But the truth is, we cannot see things that live in our blind spot or in our bodies on our own. We need the reflection of the other, that mirror, and not to mention the highest state of our nervous system, the place where we are magnetic, receptive, allowing and creating, receiving, is called loving connection, right? So fawn and freeze being at the base, fight or flight being in the middle, loving connection is the highest state. That is the place of reception. We have to learn to connect with each other and lean on each other and collaborate and be the pieces of the puzzle so that we can complete this mission of unity and coming back to oneness with the divine. So just remember, there's nothing wrong with you and you are valuable. And that often can be one of the reasons that we struggle with connection to others, And sometimes the ego will disguise it by saying, oh, they're just a normie, or they're not awake, or they're not spiritual, right? We tend to just poo-poo everyone else when really it's our social anxiety. It's our fear of not being enough. It's our fear of what if I do something wrong or say something wrong, or what if I'm not good enough? So let's remember, you are valuable. You are extraordinarily valuable. It is an honor and a privilege to be in your energy. It's okay to be quirky. It's okay to be weird. It's very common in this community to have people not like us or look at us strange. Sometimes it's not even that they don't like us. It's just they're drawn to us. You might walk into a room and people look at you and you're like, what did I do wrong? Do I have ketchup on my face or something? But really, it's just your beautiful light, your unique energetic signature that causes them to look, right? So remember, you are a precious creation, right? And even if you don't feel important to other people, you get to hold your own value and worth, the certainty of knowing why you came here and the big, beautiful mission that you have of just thriving, right? We're going to talk about that in a minute. How do we identify our purpose? That's kind of the goal of today, or the overarching major message of the day is, how do we identify our purpose, right? Our purpose is not as difficult to find as we think. So that's the first piece of good news, right? But the goal is becoming whole and complete in ourselves, understanding how manifestation works, the commitment to closing those stress responses and relieving our body of that energetic tax so that we can hold the certainty and the confidence and the unshakable knowing that I'm good no matter what. Even if I have ketchup on my face, I'm still good. I'm still valuable. I'm still worthy, even in the face of criticism and rejection. Because we come to understand that hurt people, and how someone behaves is saying nothing about me and everything about the unhealed wounds that they hold. It's telling us what's inside of them, right? So someone's unfortunate behavior, instead of what I historically did, and likely many of us do, is what's wrong with me? What did I do? Notice how I take on the responsibility for how they're behaving. When really it's a reflection of what's happening inside of them, their chaos, their internal struggle, their yucky, nasty energy that I don't want anything to do with. It's not mine, right? It just is telling us how they're feeling inside. It says very little about your value and worth, right? I loved that piece of guidance that I received when I asked the divine, why is this person not accepting me or not loving me? The response was a person's inability to recognize your value and worth is simply that, an inability to recognize your value and worth. It is not a reflection on your value and worth, right? It's not about you. That's what it means when people say, don't take it personally. It's not about you. It's about them, right? And oftentimes we don't receive the evidence of our value and worth. We oftentimes don't receive the very thing that we're seeking, regardless of what it is, until we no longer need it. And that's the backwards conundrum of some of these universal laws and the way this game called life works. I've got one hair that is just tickling my nose. Okay. So we have to remember the evidence of what we need does not show up until we no longer need it. So we do that by giving it to ourselves. So if I meet that need, then I'm no longer in lack, no longer needing, no longer in that frequency and vibration, then I can receive it, right? So that means we have to stop needing validation and approval from outside of ourselves. We give it to ourselves, right? My favorite story of all, one of my initial clients, and to this day, the one who sort of excelled and exceeded most. And to all my clients who ever watch this, I love you so very much. I don't like to play favorites. I work so hard not to play favorites, especially with my kids. But Corey's story is impactful when it comes to sharing with you what's possible, right? So when Corey came to me, she had a YouTube channel. She was doing some tarot card readings and some psychic readings, but she was really wanting to step out of her corporate job and into full-on business for herself. And there was a lot of people pleasing, a lot of over giving. She was struggling with depression, anxiety, just general malaise, just kind of like there was some coping addictions there, social media, other substances. And by the way, Corey has given me permission. We've talked about this live on air a couple of times. I think there's even an interview on my channel if you want to go see her. So full disclosure, I will never share your story. Don't worry. But she was also going back and forth with a narcissistic relationship, struggling with money, never having enough, seemingly, whether it was support and love or money, never really feeling like she could ask for what she deserved in the way of sessions or even from her job at the time. And really not understand why am I stuck? Why can I not make these things happen? Having that prefrontal cortex, intelligent executive functioning brain saying, I know I deserve these things. I know all of the ancient wisdom. I know all of the manifestation techniques, right? We can know with our brain and not embody. And that's the frequency, not really believe it, not feel it, not experience it. Right. So Corey, unfortunately, was you could say abandoned by her mother. Her mom was not around. Her parents were divorced. She lived with her father, had a struggling relationship with her stepmother. Her mom was in and out of her life many times, saying she would show up and not showing up and leaving poor Corey, looking out the window, waiting for her mother to come. Her father, of course, not meant to be the emotional support, struggled to be there for her emotionally, loved her very much, but as is common in blended families, really struggled with the sort of who to put first between mother and child. And her stepmom was triggered by her, constantly putting her down, accusing her of things that she had done when she was young that Corey was not even doing. And so she kind of got stuck in that trap of, I can never do anything right. I can never do anything good enough, not having my needs met, feeling abandoned by both mom and dad. And then, of course, as we do in those early stages of life, we develop this belief that because this is my experience, this is how life is going to go. And what we don't realize is how powerful we are, right? A 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 15-year-old has literally dictated the rest of your life from that belief that was developed in those stages and ages. Right. So Corey was looking to everyone outside of her to meet the need, as we all do. And she wanted to find love, right? She wanted to find acceptance and approval. She had profound gifts, and they were present. They were, for some of us, we can't see them at all. For Corey, she was able to understand at least what those gifts were. She was intuitive, but she was leaning very much on the cards, not really trusting her own intuition, her own psychic abilities. She had every session we would get together and I would see these gorgeous, huge, luscious plants hanging behind her. And that was just a hobby. That was just something she did for fun. Right. And the first time or two we met, she mentioned wanting to have an apothecary. I think that's how you say it, because her store name is Apothecary now. The name kind of makes me question, but she hadn't realized at that time her gift for growing these big, beautiful plants and putting these healing remedies together. So it was interesting how she would keep self-sabotaging, right? She would say, okay, let's, make tinctures, and then we're going to be a psychic, and then I'm going to go work at the local shelter. And then and it was the dabbling is very common for most of us, for many of us, especially if you're in a freeze state, or if you have a predominant run or freeze, which can come together. The shiny object syndrome will keep you bouncing from thing to thing to thing to thing. And it's kind of like the ego's disguise to say, hey, we're doing our purpose. We're doing something. We're moving towards the goal. Hey, look, I made some progress today. But then the protective mechanism is, oh, wait, shiny object. Let's start something new. Let's start something new. And so while I made progress towards this thing yesterday, because I started something new, I basically just threw all that progress out the window. Right. And so she would keep restarting, and we restarted over and over and over for almost a year. And part of this challenge is learning to trust yourself, allowing that process to happen for a time until you start to see the pattern. Because my job is to help you learn how to trust yourself, help you learn how to lead yourself. And that means I cannot tell you what you should and shouldn't do. In fact, no one knows what is right for you, because no one has access to your internal guidance system, which is the sensations in your body, your joy compass. There's a felt sense. There's a discernment tool of the body that has to learn to be used so that you can understand, Is this right? Or do I need just a millisecond to the right? Do I need just a little bit of a tweak, a little bit of a pivot, right? And sometimes, even though it looks like shiny object syndrome, that desire to go towards the other thing is going to lead you towards another trigger, is going to lead you towards more healing. It's going to lead you towards more wholeness and more alignment. So you never know, right? Although I will say this, I can see it. And if you're getting way off track, I'm going to keep you on track, but I digress. I'm getting a little in the weeds there. So let's come back to Corey's story. The mind can be a tricky beast, right? So we really do have to watch, especially the trauma brain, which will lie to you. And it doesn't always see what you are doing as safe. And so we want to recognize, and that's why we need the assistance of the mirrors to help you recognize, hey, this is a pattern. We've done this before. We're trying to keep ourselves safe. Right. So after working together for quite a while, Corey started to see her patterns. I don't want to say quite a while. There's a pretty consistent healing arc where we take about 3 to 6 months to get through the bulk of the trauma. We've released the trauma drive, and we're in a sort of a resting phase right around that 3 to 6 month mark. And then right around the 9 month to 12-month mark, you start to see your innate motivation come back, your inherent motivation, your drive coming from a place of joy, from fulfillment, from healing, from actual energetic stores after rest, being driven by your purpose, by the things you love to do, and the joy of being of service to those that you know you are here to help. And that the expansion really starts to happen in that 9 to 12-month range. Once we learn to spot the trauma responses, we rediscover who we were before the world changed us. That is often who we are, what we need, and our purpose, our gifts and our talents are suppressed in those early years or whenever the trauma happened, because we needed to survive. And that required putting other people's needs first. So there's a process of rediscovering who you are so that your gifts and talents can come online. And man, do they come online or alive. I was saying that both at the same time. We start to create boundaries to protect ourselves, to let that sort of sprout the new beginning of who you originally were to break through. And that's where we start to have restored energy. We have more capacity to handle things, to move into more challenging things, and maybe ask for more money, right? Sometimes it's just an energy issue where I need to be asking for more from my clients. And so Corey was able to start asking for more for her, asking for more for her sessions. She got 2 raises at work. She also had an offer to relocate, all expenses paid, to a beautiful location that also came with a promotion. And also at the same time, her YouTube channel was taking off. She was getting more requests for psychic readings, tarot card readings, and she got trauma spotting certified. So she was offering trauma spotting sessions as well. So you could see there's like 6 different options on the table. And that's when you know that 9 to 12-month range where you have really put down the baggage of the past. You've regained your energy and your wholeness. You're stepping into your purpose. Your gifts are coming online, and you have so many options on the table. You have to say no to good things that you would have struggled to achieve and receive in the past. So her business was and is taking off. She was able to quit her job. She started to make connections in the community and create a solid network. She decided not to relocate and stayed in her town where her kids were thriving. She even has since started homeschooling her kids and is able to fit in homeschooling and her business, and continue to support herself doing so, rekindling a relationship with her father and family. And she literally is like a new person. She glows when you see her, and her light is so, so beautiful. So I absolutely adore Corey, but also I'm truly humbled. I'm truly humbled by the fact that God gifted me the opportunity to receive the guidance for trauma spotting and to give this to everyone that I can. And it's a beautiful gift to watch a person come alive again. And more importantly, it gives us all hope. It gives us all hope, because I remember the hopelessness. I remember the questioning if life was even worth it. And to go from, is it even worth it, to not only is it worth it, but I'm excited about it. I'm excited and honored that I am gifted this life. And it's so fun. It is so, so fun. Right. So I feel like a new person. Corey felt like a new person. Literally, she said to me, well, the first time we had a session, she was like, holy shit, what was that? I've never experienced anything like that. And then now, or after that year working together, she was saying things like, I feel like a new person. I feel like I finally come home to myself. Other clients have said, I never felt like I was ever going to do anything with my life. And she said, I never imagined what I would accomplish or who I could become. And so it's shocking to see how many of us just sort of tolerate a life that is barely acceptable or not even acceptable, and how much we suffer in isolation, feeling like we're the only ones, feeling like there's something wrong with us. And so what that tells me is, I see the consistency from client to client, day to day, week to week. There is a collective wound that needs to be healed here. It is a wound of not enoughness. It's a wound of lack. It's a wound of not wanting to live this life and having to tolerate something that isn't really worth it, right? We unfortunately fear the brokenness so much that we isolate, and we have shame that we just cannot share with anyone else. And yet that's the very thing that will help us heal. We're looking outside of us for that healing, for that confirmation of our value and worth. And yet it requires that we start within, and the healing happens within us, and then we can connect and receive outside. All right. So this wound of expecting the solution to come from outside of us, someone to come save us, is kind of what keeps us stuck, right? We have to start with knowing that we matter, knowing that we are valuable and worthy, and becoming an energetic match through the closing of the stress response and the relieving of the body of that emotional charge and that stuckness that keeps us stuck. Right? So that we can finally step into happiness, freedom, love, and respect, everything that we deserve and desire. Right? And that's the reason that spirituality and personal development is growing. If you notice, it's becoming more and more popular to talk about mental health, right? People are beginning to realize emotions matter. And for so long, we were taught to suppress our emotions, but come to find out, your emotions are the source of your creation, even if it's repressed, hidden, stuck emotion. And this is why emotional cleansing of the emotional and energetic body is just as important as showering every day and brushing your teeth and eating healthy and going to the gym, right? Your needs are valid. Your emotions matter. Your mental health matters. And it is beautiful to see what can happen when you embrace that and bring that forward and commit to that journey, right? We are awakening to our power through this understanding. And when we awaken to our power, there isn't anything that we can't achieve or accomplish, right? Because the divine lives in us and has gifted us this creative capacity. This power is a gift, and it's almost something that has been entrusted to us, that we have a responsibility to learn how to use, because you have the potential and the capacity to make the world a better place. Not, and I don't want to say that in a heavy way, it's not like a responsibility to save other people, but rather responsibility to thrive, so that in your thriving, your light, your beautiful brightness helps make the world a better place, right? Life is meant to be beautiful. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Depression and anxiety are on the rise for a reason, because there's a part of us that it knows that this is not how it's meant to be. This collective soul sickness, this unquenchable thirst for what we think is knowledge, but really is wholeness and fulfillment and meaning and purpose, right? It's calling us to do something that matters, to live out our purpose, to thrive, right? Mediocre is not going to cut it anymore. Look at the millennials and the Gen Zs. They know it's not working. It is not working. And our souls will not leave us alone. It will not let us rest. Oh, my whole stomach just turned over. I remember that feeling of like, I want to quit searching for my purpose. I want to quit searching for the thing that I want, but I can't figure out what I want. I wanted to just quit. I wanted to just live the normal life they told me I should. my soul would not let me rest. It's like torture. It literally is like torture for me. I don't know about you, but this knowing that there's got to be something more. This is not all there is, and I cannot rest until I figure out how to make it work. Right. So then the next question most people ask is, what do I do about it then? Okay, fine. You tell me I should step into my purpose. I have to heal. I have to invest in closing stress responses and relieving my body of this energetic tax. How do I do it? What's the next right step? And many people would be like, okay, I'm just going to quit my job. And I'm not going to tell you to do that. I would not even suggest that. Only you know what is right for you. And if that is something you feel tremendously called for, then go for it. But I can't tell you what to do. I will never tell you what to do. I will ask you to listen to your body, and I will teach you how to discern guidance within your body. But I would suggest baby steps. That if we jump too quickly, it can be very difficult to overcome the fear, the survival mechanisms that kick in when you feel like money's going to run out. I would rather suggest an exit strategy. Start with the trauma healing first, because at the end of the day, a nervous system that is freaking out is in activation, which is a blocking, masculine, resistant energy. And we need to be in that supported, feminine, magnetic, receptive, allowing, trusting, surrendered state, the certainty of knowing I am cared for. And that can come if you can heal so if you can hold the certainty you will be cared for while quitting your job, perfect. You will be cared for. But many people have such an overwhelmed nervous system state already that is just exacerbating, and it's too much to hold. But again, you are the ultimate source of guidance. Nobody knows what's right for you. Only you can feel in your body the guidance that you are being called towards, right? So remember, life is like making soup, right? It's the alchemy that people talk about is it takes time to feel. It's a felt sense to feel into what is right for me. If I have felt called to helping people, and I feel like maybe, I initially thought that was through a nursing career or being a doctor, but then I get into that environment and I recognize the sterility of that environment and those bright lights and the long, ridiculously abusive hours that they put you through. You might say, okay, I really like the understanding of the body, and I really like helping people physically, but I don't like this environment, right? So that's the soup of life. Is like, okay, I'm going to take the piece of helping people and understanding the body and how to nurture the body and heal the body, but I am going to reject the long hours, the sterile environment, the unnatural lights, right? And so, okay, if I want to do this piece without that piece, how do I do this, right? And so it's like making soup. Each day you add a little bit, and you stir it. Maybe you start with some water and you add some salt and add a starch, and you let it boil for a while, and you taste it and you see how it tastes, and you say, oh, well, that's a little boring. Maybe I should add some citrus, or maybe it needs, a protein. However you want to mix the soup of life. And every day you add a little bit or take a little bit away, and you taste it and see how it tastes, and you adjust, you pivot, you add some more, you take some more away. Finding what works for you is a felt sense that will require the body be clear of the unhealed trauma, so that you can really feel, am I feeling into alignment? Am I feeling into the truth of what I am called to? Or am I running away from a pain? Am I being driven by a trauma? And that's the challenging part of the early stages of finding your purpose, is because your purpose is thriving, and it requires a clear vessel to be able to discern, what am I feeling and why am I feeling that? What's driving that? Is it the trauma, or is it true alignment? Right? So as we go down this path, we can be certain it will take some time. It will take more time for others, less time for some. Many people who have been studying ancient wisdom and have all of the spiritual knowledge, and you kind of feel full of the information, but not really living and embodied yet. For those people, it can go very, very quickly, especially if you have a relationship with your body. If you are newly awakened and fully disassociated from your body, you struggle to even feel hunger pains, it can take a little bit longer. But the point is, don't expect an overnight fix. And I think one thing that the spiritual community has unfortunately struggled with, or has done a disservice to the spiritual community, is this statement of just step onto your life purpose path and everything will be laid out for you. I want to clarify this. It is true, you will be provided for. You will have everything that you need. You likely, most often, you will not go without. You will not lack. You might get down to the last dollar. You might be tested. You might feel afraid. You might perceive threat where there really isn't any, because those are all very common trauma responses. But that is God, divine source, universe providing for you what you need. That is exactly what you need in that moment to be able to overcome the limiting belief, the trauma, the block, the emotional charge, whatever is taking your energy and preventing you from being able to create, right? So most often we don't get a 5-year roadmap. We don't get a milestone checklist. We don't get, sometimes you might see the end game, but you don't see everything in between. And that uncertainty can be rattling. This is, again, why we have to work with the body and the nervous system to really get solid so that we can stand in the eye of the storm as we move through what looks like chaos all around us, but really is just the crumbling of everything that no longer serves us, right? So I can only be honest with you and tell you it'll take time. It'll take time and you will be tested. And it's not all rainbows and unicorns and sunshine, but it is rainbows and unicorns and sunshine down the road. It is worth it. It is more than worth it. I would say, if given the choice, stay where I was, stay in that suffering, stay in the struggle, stay in the, just the ache of knowing that I had purpose, but not being able to figure out how to get there, the torture, the coping mechanisms required to tolerate that and deal with that. Would I stay there in order to avoid the challenges of getting to where I am? No freaking way. You couldn't pay me $1 billion, because I'm thriving and I'm not struggling financially, but there's no dollar amount that would drive me. You couldn't pay me to stay there, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not finding the right words there. Yes, there is financial abundance on this side. I can't control that. I don't know why that happens. I feel like that's the divine saying yes. So that's the first time we got that. That's awesome. Point being, it's not about the money. It's not about yes, the money comes, but no amount of money could cause me to stay in that pain and suffering. This is so worth it from an internal perspective, from the joy, from the peace, from the stability, from the certainty, from the connection to the divine. There is no way anyone could pay me to stay there. Point being, it's worth it. Okay. You will have clarity. You will have moments of insight. You will have moments of guidance. And once the universe knows that you're committed to the path, you will see things unfold for you. And it is all serving you. It is all helping lead to that place. And just remember, it's your confidence, it's your certainty, it's your commitment to the path, it's your certainty in knowing you are your own hero and you are stepping into that, right? No one has the power to do this for you but you, right? So remember, no tarot reader, no psychic, no astrologer can tell you your future, because it is in your hands, right? You are the one wielding the power. You are the one who is the decider. You are the one who can shift and change you are the only one who can shift and change your beliefs. You are the only one who can create this for you. You are the only one who can see and sense where your resistance to this path is. You are the only one who is capable of removing those blocks. You're the only one who can feel into your purpose. You're the only one who can realign yourself energetically. And you're the only one who can reach out and ask for the help of the mirror to help you find these things within you, right? It might feel a little prickly. It might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but we learn on this path. If you dive into the More Than Enough Mastermind and the trauma spotting framework, you will quickly understand how to shift your perspective to end the suffering. You don't have to suffer. It doesn't have to be painful. Challenging, yes, but we We don't have to suffer. We learn very quickly how to shift so that we can step out of the suffering, right? So once you master that tuning fork of your body and really feeling into the energetic alignment and calibration, that's when you start putting down the resistance. That's when you see your path more clearly. That's when you level up faster than ever before. Your gifts start to come online. You literally become magnetic, unstoppable. It's like sometimes you almost have to temper the joy because we want to stay balanced, right? We don't want to be too ecstatic. We want to be in the middle, but it would be so easy to just say yippee and go jump on a trampoline. Just know that regardless of what path you take or however long it takes, it doesn't matter. You will be provided for every step of the way, right? And while it can take time to fully support yourself financially, you can trust that you will have every dollar you need, right? The birds don't struggle for food. The trees don't search for water. You are the favored creation. God is in your body. Source creator energy is in your body. And so that's why, have you ever noticed when it gets down to the bottom of the barrel, when things get really bad, the provision comes through? Because God can feel what you can feel. He can hear what you're thinking. He knows what you need. The problem is he has to let us get down to square one so that we can learn to take our power back. He can't do it for us. And we don't have to get down to zero to be able to create. We just hadn't learned to create until it got to the breaking point, right? You are the favored creation. I am here right now as evidence. You are being supported. You are being offered the instruction manual on how to play the game called life so that it is fun, so that it's enjoyable and beautiful and amazing and awesome. And I am not Pollyannish, don't you worry. Truth and only truth. I cannot tell a lie. I work very, very hard to be in integrity and to not tell a lie. So I will apologize in advance if I ever misspeak accidentally, right? Just remember, faith, trust, and surrender in the divine is required. There is again a felt sense of this balancing act between asserting my own power and authority and aligning to the divine will, a little bit of surrender, a little bit of action, right? It's guidance, action, guidance, action. I love the analogy of playing Marco Polo with God, right? But either way, you will be provided for until we get it figured out. So don't worry about that. Yeah, just remember, we live in the beautiful world of the internet and you can make money doing just about anything. Literally, there was a guy telling a story, Dan Martell, somebody I love and follow. He was telling a story about how a guy, I think he's in his teens or early 20s, making millions unboxing toys. We all know about that. There was another story he told about a guy who liked to flip rocks. You literally can make money doing anything. So don't let that story of my passion won't make money stop you. It doesn't matter what you are called to. If the divine called you to it, provision comes with it, right? When you experience the trauma, the restorative experience was created at the same exact time. Living in a world of duality means with the dark comes the light. The opposite always exists. Okay. So in our most unhealed state, there is also the whole healed state of us calling us. You can achieve this. Your miracle is here now. There is no more waiting. It is only allowing yourself to receive what is already here for you. Let's remember, if we're only able to ingest or receive or process or see 0.0035% of reality, that means 99.997% of reality, if I get my math right, is out there and already exists right now, and you're just not seeing it. It's already here right now. There is no going back. I cannot hammer that home enough. I know I said it the other day, but I want you to understand it's your desire plus non-resistance equals the manifestation of your desired result. So the trauma, the unhealed trauma, the emotional charges, the stress responses that are not closed, that live in your body, that is your resistance. Desire plus non-resistance equals desired result. Okay. Take a deep breath. Feel your body. Notice what comes up, because we're talking about resistance right now. So I can't step into my purpose if I have any resistance to thriving, because my purpose is thriving. Initially, your purpose is healing, then it becomes thriving. So what do you have resistance? What resistance do you hold towards this? Right? Many will say, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to step into my purpose. I'm not ready to be seen. I'm not ready for the healing. I'm not ready. Right? And to that, I would say, I'm sorry. I can't help you until you're ready. But it's that level of readiness that's in question, right? You'll never be 100% ready. But you do have to come to that I'm done moment. Like, enough is enough. I'm 80% ready. I've had enough. Like, really ask yourself, are you ready? Or do you want to just keep doing what you're doing and wait a little bit more? Do you want to keep doing what you're doing and expect a different result? I think they call that the definition of insanity, but I'm not here to shame you into this. Just know that you will never fully be ready. And it does take your commitment. It does take a decision to say enough is enough. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm not going to waste any more of my life. Right? Some people willfully jump off a cliff and build their parachute on the way down. It's up to you, right? Others sometimes wait. Unfortunately, I was one of those where I would wait and wait and wait. I knew I should end that relationship. I knew it wasn't going well. I knew it was causing me suffering. And I waited until they cheated on me, or I waited until I was severely damaged and hurt by that. Essentially, the universe was shoving me off that cliff and saying, you cannot stay here anymore. So again, I'm not here to create fear, but just be careful. If you dig your heels in for too long, the universe will push you. Right? So know that you'll never be 100% ready, and just know that you are being offered a proven strategy, scientifically proven. I am in a neuroscience and trauma master's program where we review all of the peer-reviewed studies. I can guarantee you the somatic experiencing. So trauma spotting is a combination of EMDR, brain spotting, energy healing, internal family systems, and inner child healing. Oh, and somatic experiencing. So if you were to look at the peer-reviewed studies around any of these things, EMDR is the most commonly recommended and has the highest efficacy. I didn't love EMDR. It was a little bit harsh for me. Somatic experiencing also has high efficacy. And that, I would say, is, if I were to say what percentage of all those things leads, it is the somatic experiencing piece. And 44% of participants who engaged in the study looking at the efficacy of somatic experiencing had a complete reduction of their trauma symptoms. That is unheard of. That is rare. I cannot quote for you the EMDR statistics because I don't prefer that strategy. But I can assure you, point being, I'm offering you a proven strategy that has been studied, not to mention all of my clients, right? So there's plenty of reviews available if you want to see those as well. So point is, you have to be committed. No one can help you if you're not ready to help yourself. No one can help you if you're not committed to the path. So it really is up to you to say, okay, enough is enough. Let's also remember that we get stuck in the mind. Look at how long you have thought about your problems. How many years have you been stuck in that ruminating thought process, going over and over and over and over and over and over, trying to solve that problem? And yeah, the brain is great at solving 1 + 1 = 2. Really, really good at finding new information to consume. Not so good at embodiment, and almost incapable of resolving open stress responses in the body, because the body keeps the score. So here's the thing. Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. So we very much decided to rely on the brain, but the body, the entire body, head to toe, is a vast library of resources. The brain is often the last to know. So of this vast library of resources, we are using this much of everything that we have available to us. There are neurons in the heart and in the gut, but each cell also has its own nervous system and sometimes its own neurotransmitters. So we know, studies have shown, the body keeps the score. It means it's in your fascia, it's in your cells, it's in your lymph, it's in your blood, and epigenetics can control the internal environment, partially driven by closing of those stress responses, reprogramming of the subconscious, reprogramming of the neural pathways, right? So there's so much more available to you than you realize. And the point is, let's not get stuck in the brain, because the brain sometimes is the problem. When we have over relied on it and we're stuck in that hamster wheel of rumination, it causes separation. It causes a veil of illusion. It is seeing problem where there is none, and it's cutting us off from the capabilities, the natural healing abilities of the body, right? So it is up to us to make the decision. What I'm doing is no longer working, and I have to try something different. All right. I love Tony Robbins. If I were to emulate anyone, if I had to pick one person to emulate, I won't say he's the only person. There's a lot of people I really respect, and I have a lot of people that I allow influence me. But Tony Robbins is kind of like the GOAT of coaches, mentors, healers, however you want to qualify that. His suggestion is to burn all boats. I'm not sure that burning the boat is a great suggestion for someone who has an overly taxed nervous system, but it does require that level of commitment. It does require absolute all in. I'm doing this thing for an extended period of time, consistency. Again, talking about how, the trauma brain kind of wants to bounce. That's why ADHD is associated with trauma as well, because we have a tendency to be inconsistent. If you do this for a year, if you show up biweekly and you go all in, I can assure you, you will see massive results, right? So when you talk about the brain and the rumination, you will likely have, I like to imagine, the demon and the angel sitting on my shoulders, this little trauma demon barking in my ear. And he's telling me all the things like, it never works for you. It works for everyone else, but you have a difficult imprint. You have a difficult astrology chart, right? You've tried this before, right? It's got all of these excuses as to why you would stay stuck, right? So start by naming, right? Some people call it Liar Larry, Sassy Sally. Give this little voice a name and separate yourself from it. It is not you. It is very common trauma response to take on the voice of your abuser. So know that that is not your voice. That is not true. And the trauma demon is lying to you, right? He is the author of that glass ceiling. He is the one that perpetuates that glass ceiling that keeps you from moving into the life that you desire. Right? He keeps you at your historic set point, right? But with support and healing and guidance, you can find your way out of that. And if you show up over and over, time and time again, committed to the path, invest in yourself. You are your greatest asset. You are your greatest resource. Invest in yourself first. Retrain your brain. Learn to use your mind as a tool. Make it work for you. You learn to drive your brain instead of letting it drive you. Right? That's when you start to see breakthrough. You are meant to be in control. There is a process to reprogramming your thought habits. I again mentioned being in a neuroscience program, have a 21-day program from Dr. Carolyn Leaf on how to reprogram your neural pathways. So that is definitely something that we can address. It starts with the trauma healing first, because if you have that open stress response or a activated nervous system, any emotional charge around something that you're trying to do, that's the first step, is really getting into the body, closing that stress response and desensitizing the trigger so that you then can reprogram the neural pathways. But all of this is possible. There's proven strategies for all of this, right? This is when you start to open up to flow, right? I think I use the analogy of the electrical wire and the resistance in the body. We are removing the resistance so that we can allow this energy to move through us. It's doing that backwards. We are the torus field, and our trauma is our resistance that blocks the flow. So we need to open up to the flow so that we can flow in the direction of our dreams, our desires, our purpose, and it will start to happen almost effortlessly. Once you do all of the things that I've told you, right? I don't want to keep repeating because I feel like I'm going to lose you if I say the same thing too many times. This is where we're stepping into certainty and confidence like you have never experienced before, truly. Yeah, you cannot figure it out from the level of the mind. I feel like I've said that as well. Just want to repeat that the rumination, getting stuck in the mind, will keep you stuck, and it requires action. How to identify our purpose? I think we touched on that quite a bit. Using joy as your compass. People will say, follow your heart. It's more so follow your gifts, follow your talents. It doesn't always feel joyful, but joy is your compass. I didn't realize that helping people heal trauma was what was right for me until I had gotten into it. But I did have guidance that led me down that path. And when I did have a successful healing session, that was like the light bulb moment. Like, I am the light bulb. And it was like, bing, like, this is the thing I have been searching for my whole entire freaking life. Right. As a hidden seeker, someone just constantly seeking knowledge. I thought it was the knowledge that I was seeking. It was the purpose. It was the fulfillment. That was the moment. Right. And that's the joy compass, is like, yes, this is the thing I am made for. Right. So joy will lead you down that path. There will be moments where it's like, no, this, but you'll get the guidance that says, no, stay on this path. Right. Especially if you have support to help keep you on that path. Right? Faith, trust, and surrender is required throughout the process to trust that guidance. And eventually you'll get to that place where we get to sing the children's song, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. And it really is. And you get to create the dream. Right? So just to quickly recap, we've covered a lot. Make sure you do search for day 1 and day 2 if you missed those. Just really anchoring in that level of self-honesty, a willingness to acknowledge that what I'm doing is not working. The trauma brain is lying to me, and I really do have to start to leverage the body. Being willing to trust. I know it's so hard with unhealed trauma. Trust in ourselves, trust in others is very, very difficult, but you have to give it one more try. You have to give it one more chance. And I know we are in a trust recession. I know that there are so many deep fakes and AI crap out there. You can't even tell if I'm a real person on the screen right now. I get that. But what you can feel is your body, and your body will tell you if I'm for you. You will hear in my voice the resonance of truth in your body. And if I am for you, I am here to tell you there is hope. You can do this. You just have to trust one more time. Okay. Let it work for you. Your belief is the single most important thing, right? So trust is belief, right? Trust is the willingness to say, okay, I'm going to go all in one more time. But your belief is required, right? Don't let the brain try to keep you safe, because safe is stuck. Sometimes change is uncomfortable. And if you are comfortable, you're not growing, which means you're stuck. So be willing to be uncomfortable. Reframe that discomfort. Discomfort is growth. Discomfort is expansion into my dreams, goals, and desires, fulfillment, purpose, all the things that are calling to me. Be willing to choose to see a new perspective, reassign the association with discomfort. And as you start to see things differently and you choose to see things differently, you choose to say this discomfort means awesomeness. Discomfort means I'm stepping into my dreams, baby. It will shift and change how you feel in your body. Remember that you cannot hold the energy of fear and love at the same time. There are only two kinds of thoughts, fear or love. Fear is usually associated with the past. Love is usually associated with the future. So choose to hold loving thoughts, and you will start to expand into growth, healing, and repair, right? The very state of the nervous system that we seek, right? Choose to remember you are worthy, you are valuable. There is nothing that is more valuable than you. You are here for a purpose, perfectly imperfect for a purpose. You are a gift to the world. It is an honor and a privilege to be in your energy. Never forget that. You have a good heart. Your value is determined by your heart. If you have a desire to do the right thing, you are invaluable. You are a rare find. And don't forget that, right? Be willing to let go of the past, let go of everything you thought you knew. Be willing to say, I don't have it figured out. I thought I solved that. I thought I healed that. I thought I knew how to do it. Be willing to go back to square one and say, I don't know, God, show me how. Right? Let go of the resistance. Let go of whatever you're holding on to, whatever beliefs you believe in. Just be willing to wipe it all clean. Right? Let go of the meanings you have assigned to things. Let go of the beliefs of right and wrong, good and bad. Right? Be willing to see that you are worthy, you are valuable. Be willing to accept help from others, and be willing to be unique, be different, and the rest will come, right? The willingness or the capability to shine brightly and be seen and to hold yourself through that will come, right? So I can promise you, after using the More Than Enough mastermind and trauma spotting framework, I can walk you into all of this. There is sort of 3 prongs to my business, and that is trauma healing, purpose identification, and business strategy. Yes, you'll notice I say a lot of spiritual woo-woo things, but it's very grounded in, I want to clarify that. I say things that people have historically identified as woo-woo that actually are real, that actually are scientific, that actually have been proven, right? So we have to have belief and understanding in our capacity to create and be powerful, but also grounded strategy, knowing how to do the things, right? So I can walk you through all of that. Those are my 3 specialties. So trauma healing, purpose identification, and business strategy, which means making money, surviving, thriving, having a good life, and being of service in the process. For some reason, I'm feeling the guidance to just reference one other thing for you. What is your why? We talked about intention and why, right? If your why is not pulling you out of bed, then it likely is holding you back. And I am all about thriving, living a good life, experiencing the beautiful luxuries of the world. But I am not driven by materialism. And so we as spiritual people really want to be careful. We need to be careful around our perception of money, because historically we have said it's not spiritual to want money, or you're superficial if you want to experience luxury. But have you noticed that it's the survival mode that is keeping us stuck and causing us to live in fear? That's not very spiritual. Money is a neutral resource that can create massive impact in the world. So when you talk about open stress responses and emotional charge and triggers and unhealed trauma and limiting beliefs and thoughts that create stuckness in our lives, really look at what is your perspective and beliefs around money. Do you have fear around being that greedy person, or participating in the debt slavery system, or even money corrupting you? Really look at all of those beliefs and understand that money is a resource. Money equals impact, right? And so when you look at what are the things that you say to yourself when you go through your daily life and you're spending money, or you're looking at your bank account, start to replace that. My favorite phrase is, I help millions, I serve millions, and I receive millions, right? Notice helping and serving are first. I cannot get myself out of bed if I'm driven by money. I don't want to be that person. In fact, I'll run away from it if I find that that is my driving force. But when I put service first, that's when things start to happen. And I have a little sticky note on my screen that reminds me every day, do it for the people. A hurting little girl needs you. So let's remember, while trauma can cause us to think about ourselves a lot just because of protection, at the end of the day, you're a good person and you want to do it for the people. And that's when our suffering ends, is when we stop thinking about ourselves and we start serving others. And by default, through our service, we receive. You cannot receive what you do not give. So as you serve from a place of wholeness and overflow, not from a place of lack and needing to prove that you're valuable and worthy, or to feel good about yourself, when you pour into others through a place of overflow of self-confidence, that's when you receive, right? I help millions, I serve millions, I receive millions. Without guilt, without shame, without resistance. Okay. All right. I do feel like I am getting close to time and I don't even really know where I'm at on time. So, just wanted to talk about trauma responses a little bit. If you're binging YouTube videos, scrolling on Facebook for hours, consuming, that is a trauma response. You are in functional freeze. That is an activated state of the nervous system, and that is driven by unhealed trauma. If you have a fear of being seen, if you have a fear of asking for what you want, if you don't send the food back when the order is wrong because you're afraid of upsetting someone else, that is an open trauma response, right? If you have a crippling fear of posting your own content or making a video, if you don't share what's on your mind, if you don't ask for what you need, if you apologize when someone opens a door for you, if you feel it's too risky to be vulnerable or seen authentically, if you are frustrated with your lack of progress, you know what you need to do, but you can't get yourself to do the thing. If you have tried willpower and you find yourself crashing back into fatigue and burnout, if you're driven by perfectionism, if you're constantly on the go and struggle to relax, if you feel paralyzed by the fear of rejection or criticism, if you spend all your time in meditation and astral travel and being outside of your body and you struggle to feel your body, those are all trauma responses. So I just want you to be able to identify what that looks like and recognize, yeah, they're common. A lot of people are struggling with this, but that's because we have an epidemic of complex trauma right now. So when they say you have everything you need within you, that means the capacity to heal and relieve yourself of this is within the body. And we just need somebody to teach us how to leverage that, right? I love the story. There was a woman, there was the show Hoarders. I don't know if anybody has seen that show. There was a woman who her family had called the intervention team to help her get out of this house that is full of garbage, literally a 2-story house. I think it was like 3 or 4 bedrooms. She had had a couple of kids and they had left and gone off to college, and her house was literally full, floor to ceiling, of garbage. You couldn't even go upstairs. And when the intervention team came, they knocked on the front door and couldn't even open the front door. They had to go around to the back, and they found through the back door this very narrow pathway that led through the kitchen and into, I think, what was a dining room area. And in that dining room area, there was a mattress on the floor, literally surrounded floor to ceiling with garbage. And there was no sheets, no pillows, no blankets, just this scruffy mattress, and maybe it was a tattered blanket or something. Maybe I think it was like a sweater or something. But this woman was literally living in what would be an external expression, of my opinion, of internal chaos. And the team sat down by her and they were just being very gentle. You could tell she was very uncomfortable. She didn't want people in her space. She didn't like this. And the man was very soft and gentle and not pushing. And he reached down and he picked up a popsicle stick and he asked her, "Would you mind if I throw this away?" And she said, "No, that was my son's popsicle stick." And so what would be garbage to the rest of us was something that she was holding on to, sentimentality, right? That popsicle stick meant something very significant to her. She was holding on to the memory of the time her son or her boy had eaten the popsicle stick, who is now gone and no longer in her life. She was clinging to the past. I would be willing to guess she would bring back their childhood and bring back those kids and bring back the failed relationship if she could have. And because she wasn't willing to let go of that and move on and embrace the present moment, she was living in the past. It just piled up, right? The emotional baggage literally piled up like garbage around her. And so we say the term as within, so without. We recognize that our external environment is a reflection of our internal environment. It's showing us all of the piles of garbage that are surrounding us, right? So we really want to look at, and it can be so difficult because sometimes we've done it cognitively. I've looked for everything, right? I've worked on everything, but let's start looking in the body. Let's learn how to look in the body and see what's inside of us, because many times it's hiding. I cannot tell you, I said this earlier, how many times people are like, "I worked on that already." And then the body brings it to you. You're like, "Oh man, that's still living inside of me." But you will know, you'll see in the trauma spotting sessions, we will start out, we'll gauge on a scale of 1 to 10, how activated is this emotional response. And it's a 7, 8, 9, 10 in the beginning, and it's a 1 or 2 or 3 in the end. And so you can see how that dissipates and leaves, right? So let's not hold on to the past. Let's commit to cleaning out our internal environment. And just remember, your miracle is here now. The question is, are you ready? Are you ready to open your eyes to see that 99.997% of reality that you have not yet seen? Your miracle is here now. Are you ready to receive it? Right. So let's again look at those money beliefs. I don't have the money. What if the money runs out? There isn't enough. I can't afford it. It's too expensive. I can't spend that much. Most people would experience 1 or 2 of those statements on almost a daily basis, sometimes multiple times a day. So really start to notice those money beliefs and recognize that is the voice of trauma, right? If you are looking at your bank account and it is not reflective of safety and security and stability, if it makes your stomach turn over, if you avoid even looking at your bank account, or you don't open your bills, or you feel sick every time you talk about or think about money, there is trauma around that. There is something living in your body that needs to be addressed. And many times it is not a trauma wound. It's not a money trauma. It's not an issue with, that time when somebody stole $1 from me when I was 5 years old. It might have more to do with mom didn't look at my coloring book when I asked her to. You never know. The things that are in the body are not always logical. Otherwise, we'd be able to find them with a logical mind. So if you have a fear of looking at your bank account, you have an avoidant attachment with money. And if you cling to money and you don't want to spend money, you have an anxious attachment. Most of us have or had a disorganized attachment with money. And again, notice relationship trauma, right? And somatic healing and trauma, complex trauma is a relational wound. And so you can see how the relationship crosses not just people, but into money, right? And so let's look at how we're giving our power away to our money beliefs and our relationship with trauma. And remember, you are your greatest assets. You are the greatest return on investment you will ever receive. Investing in your healing, investing in growing yourself, investing in your purpose, your talents and gifts. Literally, every intelligent, wealthy person out there will talk about assets versus liabilities. You are your greatest asset, literally, even from a financial perspective, right? So let's look at what those money beliefs are and start to remember money is an energy. And energy is infinite. It cannot be created or destroyed. It's always in circulation. So as we release money, money will return to me. Let's start declaring that. Every time I spend $1, it's returned to me 2-fold. It's returned to me 10-fold, right? There's always more where that came from. I'm always provided for. I have everything I need. I have more than what I need. My bank account is overflowing. Supernatural doors of infinite abundance are open to me now. Right? I help millions, I serve millions, and I make millions, right? What are you saying to yourself when you speak to yourself, right? Choose a new belief. Really look at what your bank account is telling you the next time you look at it, right? Let that money be an energy. Let it flow, let it come, let it go. Don't fear it. Don't hold on to it. Don't slow it down, right? Also look at the words like I can't, I should, I shouldn't. Those are all red flags. If you're saying I can't, you have built a wall, right? I can't means I can't because I'm that powerful. I just created my own limitation, right? You can choose to shift that and remain as king by asking the question, how can I, right? I can't close those doors. How can I open these doors? Right? I am worthy of investing in, right? I'm the best investment I could ever make. What I put out there always comes back to me. Be the decider in this way. Abundance is my birthright. I am the creator of my dreams. Money is my friend. Together we co-create heaven on earth. We help and serve millions together, right? Money and I do great things together. Be friends. I'm not saying love money, right? There's a difference there. Serve. So this is an interesting thing too. if you have such a fear of money that it controls you and it dictates how you move through life, you have actually worshiped money in a way. You have made it your God. You have put it above you. So really look at the truth of how money should be viewed, right? We talked about predator versus prey. If we're in that fawn response, if money is crippling to you, if you log into your bank account and there's not enough there and it freaks you out and you like feel paralyzed, that is because you have elevated money above you. Again, we're equality, right? Friendship, partnership, right? That money is my friend. Together we co-create. We do amazing, beautiful things in the world. Because money is my friend, money loves to come to me, and I use money to serve others and to help others. I offer free sessions because I come from a place of overflow of abundance. And that's exciting. That's really, really exciting. I don't need you to be my source. I get to love on you because that's my purpose. And because I serve millions, I receive millions, right? Money will flow to you in ever increasing amounts when you start to declare it, right? Remain as king by asking questions. How can I make more money today? How can I serve today? If you start asking that question, how can I serve today? And bring with it the belief that as I serve, I am provided for, it will start to come for you. Okay. And then again, of course, look at the cost of staying the same, right? For me, I have to go back to my addictions. What would I have to do to sustain that state of being? What was the true cost of staying the same? It wasn't just missing out on being in peace and happiness and joy and love. It wasn't just missing out on helping people and watching people come alive. It was suffering. It was a physical and energetic and emotional tax every day. It was a struggle to be alive. I had to numb it. It hurt so much to feel like I couldn't trust people. I wasn't going to be provided for. I was going to be abandoned. I was going to be alone forever. I wasn't going to have the love that I seeked. The cost of living in that space was my life, almost literally. So really look at when you say, oh, that's too much money, right? I can't spend that. What are you actually spending? What is the true cost of that, right? It almost makes me sick to think about it. I have to breathe. That's a tough one to really consider that. My heart races like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go back there. So remember too, that oftentimes we will believe that the world is not a safe place, or people are not safe, or it's not safe to step into my purpose, or it's not safe to be seen. And that's all, again, driven by relationships, the fear of being hurt, wounded, and self-protection. So another statistic for you, 56% of the world's population is capable of healthy attachment, which means 56, and they don't always stay in that place, but they're capable of it. But that means you got a 50-50 chance of running into people who are good for you, who will love you, who will respond well to you, who will be grateful for your presence, who will resonate with your voice, who will be healed by the gift that you have to offer. 50-50, right? So our eyes are only perceiving 0.0035% of reality, which means 99.997% of reality exists now. And in that 50% of those people that are available to me that I'm not seeing right now are good for me and will love me and will nurture and feed back and reciprocate. So again, don't let that trauma voice lie to you. Okay. All right. Ooh, big energies here today. Take back your power. Don't let the brain and the nervous system shut you down. Notice that trauma demon, give him a name, shut him down. You are valuable. You are worthy. You are enough. You are more than enough. There is more than enough available to you. Overflow of abundance. You cannot fail if you don't give up, right? Stop abandoning yourself and those inner child parts by telling yourself these horrible stories. Stop believing the lies of negativity. It's not true. It's really not true. I love Amanda Frances. She'll say, stop believing the lies that are straight from the devil. Yeah, really look at how you limit yourself, the I can'ts, the I shoulds, and all of that good stuff. Okay. It is just a matter of recalibration and alignment, feeling into the truth in your body. And again, for the one last time, I will recap for you. It starts with feeling the sensations in your body. Get to know your body. Notice the next time you're triggered. Notice how your body responds. Look at how old that part of you is. Recognize what belief came from that experience. Sit with the body until the stress response closes, which means the sensation desensitizes. Choose to see that belief and work with that inner child part and let them know we're not there anymore. We don't have to believe that anymore. I can keep you safe in this new belief. Then start to catch and replace those old thoughts. Replace them with the new thoughts. Know that you have purpose. Call it forward. Remain as king by asking the questions, how can I serve? And keep showing up. Keep doing it over and over and over. The divine loves you and will show you the rest. Okay. And again, I do not share with you anything that I have not lived myself. I am the evidence. This can work for you. There is hope. Just keep showing up day after day. I've seen it, client after client, the light come back into their eyes, right? There's nothing like the resources available to you in your body. Trauma spotting does work. I can assure you that, right? It's that magic combination of the divine purpose, service, and the wisdom that comes through the body, right? Abundance is inevitable if you step into your service and your purpose, right? Healing trauma is a critical life skill. So learn how to do it. Learn how to use your body to do this, right? Yeah, what else? So yeah, unfortunately, that's the end of my notes. Well, I do have the homework for you, or not the homework, the activity and the freebie for you. So if you want access to the Theta Healing for removing abundance blocks and learning how to command your power and authority in your life, I will share that activity with you in just a second. So if you want to continue the conversation with me, I would be deeply honored in supporting you through the trauma spotting, through source tapping process, and the More Than Enough Mastermind. I have 2 different variations of it for costing purposes. The most effective, like I said, it takes about a year. The most effective process is bi-weekly one-to-one sessions where we will talk about the trauma initially, then we'll get into your purpose, and then we'll discuss business strategy to get you launched into your purpose. It does come with, like I said, the one-to-one trauma spotting sessions, an Awakening 101 course if you are at your early stages, otherwise that won't be necessary, a detoxing for trauma course because the state of your being is so critical to your healing and your expansion, and then also the More Than Enough Mastermind and Trauma Spotting course, which will teach you all about trauma, how to recognize what it's doing in your brain and body, how to recognize your trauma responses, how to recognize the trauma responses that you used to think were your personality, and rediscover your purpose and your personality so that you can stop doing what we used to do and start expanding into your authentic nature. I do have certification options open for people who want to learn how to do that. Otherwise, you'll learn how to do it for yourself. There is a community and live Q&A that comes with that. And that cost is $444 a month. Now, if that's too much for you, the second option is sort of a do-it-yourself DIY kind of thing, where you still get access to all of the courses, just a little less one-to-one sessions. And I can pair you with a practice partner, a trading partner, so that you can get more one-to-one sessions for a lower cost. So for $222 a month, you get access to all of the courses. You still get 2 one-to-one sessions with me. You get the unlimited sessions with a trade partner. That's up to you guys to determine. You still get the Detoxing for Trauma, Awakening 101, and the More Than Enough Mastermind that'll, again, teach you Trauma 101. How does it change the brain and body? How to do trauma spotting with lots of demos in there and instructions on how to do it so you can see how to do that. So I would love, like I said, I would love to support you. Your purpose is my purpose. I literally am here on planet Earth for you. So please do check out those options and let me know. I'll drop a link in the group right after this, as well as probably on whatever page you're seeing this on. I do only have 2 openings for the one-to-one sessions right now because I'm getting booked up. And so that's why I'm trying to make this DIY option more available for you, because we need to spread the word. Hurt people. And so let's end human suffering so that we can all again step into heaven on earth. I do have 10 spots open for the More Than Enough Mastermind right now. The doors for that will close on Sunday. I do have to put a hard stop on this because I need to be able to make sure that everyone is thriving and successful. And so I have to have a manageable number of people. I'm probably going to close the doors on this for the rest of 2024. As much as I want to continue to help, I have to make sure it's effective and hold, there's only so many I can hold. So we'll see. I don't know when I'll reopen the doors, but just know that this is likely the last chance for this year. So our activity, how to get a hold of the Theta Healing for Abundance blocks. If you could make sure that you jump into the Facebook account, or if you're seeing this on YouTube, you can go ahead and post it as a comment below. I will take that as well. You'll just have to include some sort of contact information so that I can send you the freebie. The activity for today is, how has this accelerator changed your life? What is your big aha moment? And this is not just for me. Of course, most of what we do is for me, for you, for us. Your comment will also help other people hear in your own voice the language or the tips and tricks or the guidance that you received, and that may land better for them. So just know that when you comment, you are helping your brothers and sisters as well. So comment, how has the last 3 days changed your life? What is your big aha insight? What awakened something in you? And I will send you the Theta Healing for removing abundance blocks and learning how to command your authority and power. If you have done all 3 days worth of activities, day 1, day 2, and day 3, which was the I am the one, or I am my own hero video, and also your commitment to change for those first 2 days. If you do all 3 days of activities, then I will enter your name into the drawing to win a free session with me, and that drawing will be completed tomorrow. So you have, I forget what I put in the post. I'll say, let's say you have until noon tomorrow, noon tomorrow to post all 3 days worth of homework to be eligible to get your name in the hat for the free session drawing. And I will do that. Well, let's give you till midnight. We'll give you till midnight tomorrow, and I'll do the drawing on Sunday. Doors close for the mastermind at midnight on Sunday night. So, okay. I love you so much, my friends. Literally, I literally love you so much. You are amazing. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you, because your purpose is my purpose. So thank you for that. And thank you for being you. And thank you for being awesome. And stay in touch. We are family now. I'm not going anywhere. So please don't disappear. Keep on coming back. I love you. I want to keep pouring into you. And I will do that as best you allow me to. All right. Namaste, my friends. I will see you on the next one, whenever that may be. Let me know if there's any questions. I'm happy to do a Q&A if that's necessary as well.